I've been married for 12 years, and just a week ago, I saw something that really bothered me. My wife was chatting on TikTok Live with someone who was clearly a thirst trap type. No shirt, muscular, posing in an obviously flirtatious way. It irked me, as I would never do that to her. It honestly never even crossed my mind. Now, I don't mind that she watches these kinds of videos. We all enjoy eye candy, and we both indulge in porn now and then. I'm perfectly fine with that. But it's the interacting and befriending these guys that I have an issue with. I'm of the mindset, look but don't talk. It's not that I don't trust her, but I find it extremely inappropriate considering we've been married over a decade. There are millions of people on TikTok she can be friends with and share interests, but she chooses half-naked men to interact with. I know for a fact that if I were interacting with women on TikTok in bikinis, she would be furious. She swears they just chat, but she won't let me see her messages. She did it again today, even though she knows I've been upset about it. When she did, I immediately called her out on it. She just kept saying, "That's your problem, not mine. I don't know what you want me to say," and called me insecure. I'll admit, I am somewhat insecure. I've put on some weight at my new job because I'm not as active anymore, but I'm down 9 lbs and actively working on it. But even without that, it's still crossing a boundary to me. Yet she responds over and over that it's my issue to deal with. I feel like she's going to leave me with no choice but to give her an ultimatum. Either I accept her likely flirting with these guys online, or I leave because she doesn't seem interested in budging. That's a red flag for me. Whenever I try to point out that something she's doing makes me uncomfortable, she refuses to discuss it and calls it my problem. We're supposed to listen to each other and help resolve issues, not stick to a my way or the highway attitude. I loved and cared for my ex-wife deeply. Despite the many ways our relationship was flawed, I still carry a lot of feelings for her. Splitting up was for the best, but as time passes, I'm coming to terms with the harsh truth about myself. I wasn't the man I thought I was. I was lazy, selfish, and immature, constantly downplaying my bad behavior throughout our entire marriage. I wanted her so badly that I pressured her to be intimate, convincing myself that it was just a display of my desire for her. But in reality, it was sexual abuse. I told little white lies all the time, thinking I was protecting her feelings, but I was really just avoiding hard conversations. When I made a new friend and she told me she didn't want me hanging out with this woman, I told myself she was being controlling. Deep down, I knew I was developing a crush on this new person. I convinced myself it was okay because the crush would eventually fade, but this started a vicious cycle. My refusal to cut off contact with this friend made my ex-wife more hostile and cold toward me. In turn, I felt lonelier and more resentful, so I leaned on my friend even more. Eventually, my wife told me she didn't love me anymore. Our marriage dragged on for another 1.5 years, a nightmare period of constant breakups and reconciliations, filled with endless fighting. She started using insults and suicide threats during arguments. She accused me of cheating with my friend multiple times, which I always denied because nothing physical or romantic happened between us. Near the end, she revealed she was a lesbian and declared our marriage completely over, even starting to look for partners on dating apps. I told her I was happy and proud of her for discovering her sexuality, but inside I was shattered. The thought that she had never been attracted to me was devastating. In my loneliness and desperation, I asked my friend if she ever had feelings for me. She said no and was disappointed that I had ruined our friendship. I justified my actions by telling myself that my wife had cheated first by using dating apps and that she wouldn't care because she never loved me in the first place. Months passed, and my ex and I were still entangled. We even got back together and had intimacy once or twice, despite her identifying as a lesbian. During a particularly horrible fight, I told her about asking my friend out. The look on her face was pure heartbreak and betrayal. That was the final blow that ended our already dying, messed up marriage. At the time, I didn't know why I confessed. But looking back, I realized I just wanted the painful roller coaster to finally end. And end it did. I moved out, we got legally divorced, and blocked each other on everything. It's been over a year since then. Initially, I was assured by friends that I was the good guy in the situation, despite my mistakes. Over time, I shifted to believing there were no bad guys, just two incompatible people. Now, I'm finally accepting that I was an awful husband from the start. My selfish behavior poisoned our marriage, and instead of recognizing my faults, I used my loneliness and resentment to justify emotionally cheating. I'm sorry if this seems scattered or confusing. I needed to put it out into the world since I don't have a therapist. I needed to finally say it out loud in some way, even if I'm too cowardly to admit it to anyone's face. I was a cheater and a terrible husband.
Where do I even start? I'm crying as I write this. I definitely need mental help because I'm emotionally unstable and end up in short-tempered outbursts if I feel like I'm being targeted. I don't like to be bothered. I like to be free and without people telling me what I should do. I used to be different. I used to be a total pushover. I gave in to people and things and was never angry and cried myself to sleep. But at one point, I had enough. This was a few years back. I started becoming defensive of myself. It's like by exploding at someone or projecting my anger onto the person getting angry at me or accusing me of things, I get to feel peaceful or let things out. My dad. Ever since I was little, he didn't give me enough love. I always feel neglected in my family. I'm the oldest kid, so things are never in my favor because I'm the first to go through everything. Studies, adolescence, instability in decision-making, little fights where I'm always on the losing end because I don't have anyone to support me, siblings taking advantage of that loophole when I'm not being favored, it all adds up. I have no one on my side. I don't think I ever felt loved in my family. I was constantly restricted. I once got 9-10 on a test paper, mock, and I was so afraid to bring it back home that I threw that test paper away and pretended like I got 10. It's just a single-digit difference, but I was overwhelmed. Yesterday, and even this morning, Dad keeps yelling at me and calling me names when he's drunk. My mom initially said, "He won't remember a thing he says when he wakes up." But no, he's acting like it. He does this every time. And the one time I yell back because my heart couldn't take it, suddenly I'm the bad guy. It was bad. I started name-calling my own dad out of anger. But somehow, I feel both better and like a reflection of him, which I hate. I don't know why he is always so angry at me. He says I'm worthless. He calls me names and says things I don't think my friends around my age have to listen to. I'm so jealous. I see people with perfectly sound families and how they all get along despite the small disagreements. But I'm always the bad guy in these situations. My mom says I need mental help and that she wouldn't let me say anything bad about her husband. Then what about me? Who am I to her? She says that I'm very loud when angry and need to calm down. How else am I supposed to let this heat off my chest? You triggered me first and expect me to be calm? How? Even my sisters don't care. They never did. No one in this family is normal. No one is loving or caring. I hate this place so much. I don't even feel like studying or doing anything productive because of them. It's like I'm trapped in this place of instability. I have no one to show my good results to or share my success with. My family will be happy about my results, not me. Who am I even studying for? Is there even a need for that? I could just die tomorrow and things would be peaceful. If I'm productive, it's like I'm doing it for them and not myself. I hate how I think. The only thought that helps me counter this is, I'll be free if I study. I can get a job, I can move out, and don't need to see their faces. There is really no warmth in this place. Everything is so neglectful. I cared too much about people years back, but not anymore. I've become more apathetic to things. I hate how this place treats me and makes me feel. My family decided they won't be talking to me because I told them I like to be free, and it hurts so badly. Am I not human too? How long can I last without socializing? It's more peaceful when no one is bothering me, but that isn't the solution to what you guys are doing. Like, what am I even supposed to do at this point? It's so sad. I want to share this with a friend or anyone, but I don't have anyone I trust. It hurts so much.
My boyfriend M19 recently went to Spain with his family for a week. While he was there, he met a girl. It started with him telling me that he was going on a beach walk with her at 6 a.m., just the two of them. I didn't really mind at first and let it slide, But as the trip went on, they started hanging out more and more. Sometimes it was just them, but more often it was both their families together. His replies to my messages became slower, sometimes taking hours, which made me uncomfortable. After she left, we're all from the UK, she's from Birmingham and we're from Manchester, they kept in touch constantly. This really got to me, so I logged into his Instagram, he had given me his password, and saw their messages. One of the conversations that really hurt me was between her and my boyfriend's brother. The brother asked if she would be interested in my boyfriend if he was single. She avoided the question by saying that he has a girlfriend, so there's no point in asking. Then, my boyfriend's brother asked my boyfriend the same question, and my boyfriend said that if he didn't have a girlfriend, he'd want to see where things would go with her, and that he would make a move.